Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thank you for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. You spend a significant portion of your life at work, so my goal is to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I am delighted to welcome my very special guest to the show today, Kimberly Palm. Kimberly, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you, Caroline. I appreciate being here.
Oh, I'm really excited to talk about your amazing book called Conquering Stress, The Real Fountain of Youth. But I want to tell our listening audience about you because you have such an extraordinary career and background. Kimberly Palm has combined 28 years of health research, 23 years of work in the medical industry, and 25 years of experience teaching, speaking, and coaching people worldwide. She's an author and healer to the doctors, and she recently published her debut book, Conquering Stress, The Real Fountain of Youth, and it's an Amazon bestseller, and I'm very excited to talk to Kimberly about all of the amazing things that she has to share about mind power for success and mind healing, body, mind, and healing. So Kimberly, let's dive right in. You are called the healer to doctors. What does that mean?
So what that means is, when I started my current life stress and health coaching business 6 years ago, I'd be working with physicians for them to send me their patients. And actually, for the last 23 years, I've been coaching physicians in their medical practice because I was a business I've been a business and marketing coach. I still am partially to not just doctors, but small business owners. And what happened is 3 years ago, the physicians would start to say, I need you more than my patients need you. And then I found out that 90% of physicians just in the U.S. are burned out.
Yeah.
And so what I decided is, this is ridiculous. How can all these people be healed by, people go to their doctors with stress-related health issues, and the doctors can't help them. They weren't able to help me, which is how I became a healer. I had to keep healing myself over and over again because doctors were unable to do so. And the reason why is because they can't even heal themselves.
Yeah.
They do not heal thyself. It says, physician, heal thyself in the Bible. They do not do it. They do not take care of themselves. And so I created a whole program to assist physicians, not only in their medical practice to create a stress-free medical practice, but also to prevent and reverse burnout because they're all suffering in one way or another. So that's how that came about.
And, Kimberly, as a career coach, I see time and time again clients all over the world who are stressed out, burned out, debilitated, and often who become extremely sick and ill because of stress and how that has taken over their lives. Now, you have an interesting story about how you got to this point. Would you be willing to share your background?
Sure, I can. So just, there's a really long version, of course, it's in my book, but I'll give you what I call the Reader's Digest snapshot.
Sounds good.
And that is 28 years ago, I was misdiagnosed by a physician, and I had an aha moment of, okay, doctors are human, and I need to take control of my own body and my own health, and I didn't need to be responsible and not dependent on these humans to have the answers to everything, because they don't have the answers to everything. They have some of the answers, but they don't have all the answers. And so I went on a quest of researching, how to heal myself. In the meantime, I had plenty of family members passing away from heart attacks and strokes and diabetes and cancers and all these things. And I knew, that I wanted to live really, really, really long. And so I started becoming kind of, not really obsessive compulsive, but it became kind of a hobby of mine to research, anti-aging and preventative medicine and how to heal your body. And then I had many episodes of health problems over the course of the last 28 years where I had to keep healing myself over and over again because I'd go to doctors and they would not know what's wrong with me. They would shake their head and say, we don't know what's wrong with you. Or they would misdiagnose me, or they couldn't even treat me, or they would know what's wrong with me, but they didn't have any cure for it. They would just say, here's a drug, and the drug would cost me pages of side effects. For example, I now have tendinitis all over my body as a result of being injured by drugs, by pharmaceutical drugs.
Wow.
So So these are the kind of things. So I started studying everything to do with naturopathic medicine, homeopathic, Chinese, Ayurveda, energy healing, quantum physics, every alternative modality for healing known to man. I've been studying spirituality for my whole life, probably 38 years or more. So, I'm 50 now. So I think I started studying spirituality and metaphysics when I was about 12, 13 years old. So I've kind of combined all of those years of knowledge into my coaching. And in the meantime, over the years, I've kind of been like Dr. Shrink to all my friends and, some neighbors. And, everywhere I go, people were always asking me for advice. So about 7 years ago, I had this, I'm also an intuitive, I'm a medical intuitive, and I have a lot of interesting little gifts that I was born with. And this voice, just spoke to me 7 years ago, which I called the voice of God, that said, I was created not to be a marketing guru, but I was created to be a healer and to teach, mainly to be a teacher of healing, to teach people how to heal their body, mind, and spirit. And that my journey, the whole purpose for my journey of why I was sick over and over again and healed myself was so that I could learn all these things so that I could turn around and help people on the planet to do the same. So that was my big awakening to, here's what my purpose is, here's what I'm supposed to do. And in the meantime, I'd already been giving out free advice for many, many, many years to people and always enjoyed helping people. So it made sense to me that was what the next step of my life, I guess you can say. And so that's what I've been focusing on ever since.
That's amazing. And you're well, you're healthy, you're vibrant.
Yes.
So that's exciting. So your body is thriving.
Yes, with the exception of the tendonitis, but I'm working on that too. I'm not perfect. I'm a human, so I'm going to have colds every now and then and stuff like that. But I will say that, I'll go 3-4 years without getting sick with any kind of a virus at all. And I remember that back in the day when I would have virus after virus after virus, I'd be sick just continuously all year long with sinus infections and all sorts of things. I don't get those anymore. I haven't had a sinus infection in many, many years. So I've really, really learned how to walk the talk, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that very thing. So Kimberly, help us understand the definition of stress, because there is a literal definition that impacts our health and wellness. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, yes. Actually, thanks for asking. There's hundreds of definitions of stress out there. If you look it up in the dictionary, actually there's probably 5 different dictionaries that all have different meanings of what stress is. But what I've determined the true definition of stress is based on all of my research into stress for years and years and years is stress is basically anything intangible or non-tangible or intangible that negatively impacts or harms your body, mind, or spirit. So what we mean by intangible or tangible is tangible could be smoking cigarettes. So that's an actual thing, that's impacting your health. Whereas intangible would be negative thinking.
Yeah.
Or you get into an accident or an injury, that would be intangible. Another tangible thing would be eating processed foods or eating foods that have a lot of chemicals in them. That would be a tangible thing. So you're actually putting a thing into your body that is stressing out your body and making it sick. So versus an intangible thought, what I call stinking thinking. I talk about it in my book. I have a whole chapter on emotional stress. And that's very much the intangible. You can't really see the thoughts. You can't necessarily feel them or touch them, but they're they're floating around in the atmosphere. So
stress is still such a buzzword, Kimberly. What kinds of stress do most people have in their lives today? Because I think everybody on some level can relate to being stressed at some point in their lives.
Yeah, so let me tell you, there's always a top 10 list that's published on all the different, websites and platforms and, studies that they do. But I like to talk about the top 5 because that's a little bit more feasible. And the top 5 are relationship stress, career stress, health problems, stress people out, financial problems, and the last of the 5 is time pressure, time management, which is why I teach time management to pretty much most or all of my clients, because most people are very stressed out over time. They're in a hurry. They're constantly hurrying.
So that makes sense, and I thank you for limiting it to the top 5 list because it can be overwhelming. So
Yes.
I can imagine the virtual heads of millions of audience members who are listening to the show, and they're relating to something, whether it's relationships, career, health, financial, or time deprivation. So how does one know if one is stressed?
Well, thanks for asking. In my book, I actually have a really complicated chart of how you know you're stressed, because there's so many people I meet day after day, and they're like, how do I know I'm stressed? I don't know if I'm stressed. And what I say is, here are just a few examples, because the list is so vast, we don't have enough time here. But the big things are feeling tired. If you feel tired at the end of the day, or you feel really tired at the end of the week, you have that exhaustion, or, brain fog is a big one. Headaches is a big one. Chronic body pains and aches is a big one. Autoimmune and immune system problems, getting frequent colds, getting sick all the time, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's, some of those what we call autoimmune disorders. Cancer is a big one. If you have cancer is caused by a combination of stress from your emotions combined with toxins and chemicals in our environment. That is what the cause of cancer is. So that is a big one. If you have cancer, you are definitely stressed. Sleeping problems is a big one. Hormone imbalances, sexual difficulties. If you have, lack of sexual desire, any of those types of things, those are all symptoms of stress. And those are the physical symptoms. And there's mental symptoms like worry, anxiety, fears, phobias. Inability to sleep, of course, is both mental and physical, but, those types of things, anxiety, depression. If you're depressed, you're stressed out.
Yeah.
If you're anxious, you are totally stressed out. And if you have panic attacks, then you are off the chart stressed out.
So, Kimberly, I'm hearing there's a direct correlation to illness and stress. So, how do you start, right? Of course, the book is extraordinary, so I would highly recommend that as a great place to start. It's an amazing resource. But as a healer and a professional with years of health research under your belt, where do we take that first baby step?
So the first baby step is empowering yourself to take control of your health. And yes, it's important to go to doctors, and you should be going for your annual checkup. I talk about that in my book, that it's important to go get your annual checkups with your doctors and have your blood levels tested, your, cholesterol, vitamin deficiencies, genetics, all the different things that you should be testing for. But the important thing is to empower yourself to take control of what you put in your mouth every day.
Yeah.
Just paying attention to labels of foods that you're eating, not eating chemicals and not eating processed food, trying to eat natural foods, what we call whole healthy foods that come from nature, like plenty of vegetables and fruits, and what I call an anti-inflammatory diet. Inflammation is the cause of most illness that we have. So if you eat what we call an anti-inflammatory diet, which I talk about in detail in the book, it's that's your first step, is what you put in your mouth, and empowering yourself and taking control of your own health, and not relying on others to have the answer for you, because other people are not going to have the answer for you. The answer comes within yourself, and it's taking the steps to take care of yourself and doing that self-care. That's the first part of it.
And I love in the book how you really outline in great detail a personal stress management toolkit and really a life makeover plan. Give us a glimpse of that. Of course, more details in the book, but whet our appetite.
Well, so what I've been doing, first of all, I guess we have to go backwards and say that this book is an introduction to my peace stress management system.
Yep.
And part of the peace stress management system is giving each of my clients what we call a personal stress management toolkit. And it's something they can use every day the rest of their life until they are ready to leave the planet. And basically what it is it's putting together a list of skills and tools that I teach people, or they learn in the book, or they learn from wherever, to help themselves every day with stress. And it's broken down into time, let's just say like time components. So for example, I only have 2 minutes of time. Here are some things I can do to relieve stress. I only have 5 minutes of time. Here are some things I can do to relieve stress. The purpose of a toolkit is because, think about it. If you're stressed and then you're trying to figure out, what do I do to relieve my stress? That creates more stress because you're sitting around going, oh my God, what do I do to relieve my stress? Wouldn't it be nice to just pull out this handy dandy toolkit that you can say, I'm feeling stressed, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm going to do number 5 on the list. And so you pick something that you've already, pre-came up with that helps you relieve your stress. And that alone relieves so much stress instead of just sitting there wondering, what do I do next, to relieve my stress? So that's what the toolkit is. The makeover, the last chapter of my book is a total life and health makeover program utilizing all the information you learn in the book. So the book is going to give you all the tools that you need to manage every area of stress in your life from now until you die. And you're going to put it together in that plan at the end of the book.
And I so appreciate the practical, implementable action steps. You can make this happen today.
Yes.
One of my favorite sections is a page called Stop and Smell the Coffee. I should say a section called Stop and Smell the Coffee. Talk to us a little bit about that, Kimberly, as we wrap up. I think we miss so much because we're so busy, stressed, right, that we don't pause and breathe and appreciate the moment.
Right. Well, one of the biggest things that I teach, I'm a certified mindfulness instructor, and mindfulness is what we call present moment awareness. And a lot of people today, we're in this culture where we just go, 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 and we never stop. I was just telling my husband literally 20 minutes ago before we started talking that I think it was like 58% or more people in the United States and other countries are not even taking vacations. Wow. They're not taking time. They're not stopping and smelling the coffee. They're just go, 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 go without a break. It's so important when you're an employee, whether you're an employee or a manager or a company owner, no matter what it is that you do in your life, if you don't slow down and you don't take these breaks from time to time, you're going to burn out. The reason for burnout is because of everybody is in a hurry to do too much and too small of a frame of time. We're all trying to, put it this way, we identify success in our society is by the amount of stuff that we have to do. Mm-hmm. And so people keep adding more and more and more to their plate until they're overwhelmed and overloaded. One of the things I do in corporate America when I teach employee programs is teaching employees how to prevent overwhelm and overload. Because, that's what they do. So teaching them how to stop and smell the coffee, giving them little tools and skills that they can do throughout their day that take a minute, 2 minutes, that they can, do these little breaks for their sanity so that they can have better productivity. And what's really amazing is when you take a vacation, let's say you take off for Hawaii for a week and you leave behind all the electronics and everything like that, when you come back to work, you're 10 times more productive than you were before. So anytime you take a break for your brain and you allow your brain to have a now moment, a present moment, mindfulness kind of thing, what's going to happen is when you go back to your job again a few minutes later, a few hours later, a few weeks later, you're always going to be way more productive than you were if you would have just kept going, because your brain gets tired out. Your brain just gets on overload and then you can't think straight. Your cognitive function depreciates. And it's kind of a downward spiral. So even doing things like walking outside and smelling the fresh air, listening to the birds, taking a walk around the block. One day I went outside and just watched the fuzzy little bumblebees in my azalea bush just going to town. And I just stood there and enjoyed watching the bumblebees do their thing. That's the kind of stuff, it creates joy and it helps us to decompress. It helps our brain to calm, clear, and focus. And it allows me and everyone else to be 100 times more productive.
Kimberly, I learned a new term today, and I'm told it's a Japanese term called forest bathing. And it means just, getting out into nature and literally letting nature envelop you, the sounds and the smell and the feel of the forest around you. So perhaps that is similar to what you're talking about, being mindful and being present.
Yes, and I talk about the similar thing, the forest bathing, in my book. It's called Earthing, and it has to do with going out into the forest or going out into your backyard and going barefoot on the grass or on the sand, or laying up against a tree, putting your back up against a tree, walking through the woods. All of that is all so important for stress management.
Kimberly Palm, what a joy to have you on the show. Your book is called
Thanks.
Conquering Stress, the Real Fountain of Youth. So tell us, how can we buy the book and engage you? I know you're out there speaking all over the world. You're a coach, consultant, doing so many great things. Tell us how we can reach you.
Well, thanks for asking. My website is kimpalm.com, so it's KIMPALM, and I do have a corporate speaking page. I speak at functions and events and companies all over, and you can book me for that on that page. Also, the coaching info is on that website. The book info is on there. If you want to buy the book, it is on Amazon.com worldwide. It's also on Barnes & Noble worldwide, and it's on about 4,000 other booksellers worldwide. So pretty much any country you are, whether you're in Africa, South America, Canada, anywhere in the world, you should be able to purchase the book either on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or one of the other worldwide booksellers.
Fantastic. Kimberly, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your time today. I wish you continued success, and I hope our paths cross again soon.
Thank you, Caroline. I really appreciated our time today.
My pleasure. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in to Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. Career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. My show is now available on iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, and Stitcher. Leave a comment because I always appreciate hearing from my listeners. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.